So the first thing that I will say is this is the way that I chart. This is maybe not the same way that you guys necessarily chart. It works for me. I've been doing it this way for the last 3 years and I love it. So I'm going to tell you different reports to look at, what I use, and then, experiment and find what you want to do. So the first thing that I will tell you guys to do is, I do this at the end or the very first of every month. So this was the month I went triple, February of 2019. I went into my report. So you go into reports, you click on the additional reports, and then you click on volume total by distributor. And then you're going to search for, like I search for February of 2019. You search for the month before. And so that way you know exactly where you left off the month before. So here is February of 2019, everything that it took me to go triple. Okay, now if there were some places where maybe there were personal orders or like it's just not as strong as you want, then like highlight those spots because this is February. So then come March, those are the places that I want to build stronger first. And so now I have my March volumes. So I went through on, April 1st. So I went through on April 1st in the morning. I checked my March volumes because it took a little while to update on the last day of the month. So I wrote in my March volumes for before I started this month. So I knew exactly where I was. And if I had any weak spots, I just kind of highlight them. And those are the first places that I'm working on. And so now, those are how I went triple. And so now with my presidential chart, same thing, it's printed out. And I keep track of my current volumes current volumes. And then I'm using my last month's volumes to make sure that I'm building it strong. Okay. So first off, does everyone know where to find charts? Or does everyone have their chart? Shake your head like this if you have your charts already printed. Okay, I'm just going to say it so that way people watching the recording. If you go into your eSuite, click at the top, document library, and then you're just going to search chart, and they're all going to pop up till diamond. And if you need the double or triple or presidential chart, if you just search in the team page, Teamwork Equals Roomwork page for double chart, diamond chart. Amber posted the PDFs a while ago. You also might be able to check in the files section to see if it's in there. But there's charts all the way up to ambassador, actually. Okay. The other thing that I really like to do, you guys, is I laminated charts just like this. So then that way I can use a dry erase marker and send Marcos and show people what they're looking at, what they're working on. And so I like having laminated charts. And I literally have all my charts on this clipboard. It goes everywhere with me. So then that way, if people have questions or need help, then I know exactly where their numbers are, okay? So what I do on a daily basis is first thing when I wake up in the morning, I check my downline orders. Okay, I used to be a Subway manager and I needed to know what was in my till, what was in my cash register before the day started. And at the end of the day, I needed to know what was in there. So that is what I call checking my downline reports. So what you're going to do is you're going to go log into your eSuite, you're going to click reports, and then you're going to do additional reports, that little green button, so you can pull up all the reports, and then you click downline orders. I check this every single morning, and I'm checking for a few things. The first thing I'm checking for is what recurring orders ran. Okay, which ones are my customers? Was it the right thing? Did I get it changed? Making sure that they're getting the right products that they wanted. And I also check for my distributors. Do I have new distributors that are running auto shipments? Is that what they wanted? Who on my team is getting commission qualified, invested in their business? I'll send messages that's like, hey, I'm so proud of you for running your ADBB auto shipment, and give some recognition that way for people that are investing in their business. So in the morning, I'm checking for recurring orders. I'm also checking for CC declines. So if an order didn't go through, then I'm messaging the customer and I'm saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know your order didn't process. Do I need to update the card that's on file? And that way I can go and update it, and I can manually reprocess it and get that volume in today. Or they'll be like, oh, there's just not money in it. I get paid on Friday. And just so you guys know, declines run every Friday. They run the 25th of the month, and they also run again on the last day of the month. Now, I learned this kind of the hard way. If something declines and they're like, oh, well, I wanted to change my product, and if you log on to their customer account and you change their product, and then maybe you change the date to run like on Friday like they wanted, that first order is still on the decline list. So if they declined for Fat Fighters and they wanted ThermoFight, that Fat Fighter order is still on the decline list. So if you change the auto shipment and change the date on Friday, then both of those orders are going to run. So you have to make sure you submit a ticket and make sure that first order that got declined gets canceled. And so then that way the new order will run. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but that was not a fun lesson to learn the hard way, okay? So in the morning, you're checking for declines, you're checking for your recurring orders. Okay, then I go through on my chart and I write in my numbers. And so how I like to chart, in fact, let me just share my screen. I'll pull up a chart so I can show you guys. On the right, on the left-hand side, where I would have a leader. So here's me, here's a Ruby leader here. I put a little box here and then I'll do a check mark when they get commission qualified. So in these places, all I need to know is if they're commission qualified. So I do a little check there. And then on the right-hand side, I do their current volumes. So these ones are going to be group volumes. And then this one's going to be their current volume. So this is current volume. This over here is current volume. And sorry, this is so ugly. I'm trying to do it with my mouse. Okay. But on the right-hand side, I do their current volumes. And then on the left-hand side of these 400 boxes, I do their projected volumes. Okay. So these over here are what they're projected to be at. Left is projected, right is current. And so if someone's projected to be at 200 volume and they're currently at 125 and I sign a big order, then I know I'm going to put it underneath one of these legs because it's not even close to being at 400, okay? And so let's talk about how to get the projected volumes. A lot of people will use the volume from last month and say, oh, well, this was at 400 last month, so it's going to be at 400 this month. It doesn't work like that. And so you want to make sure that you are actually doing your volumes manually. And so the first thing I tell my team to do is I actually like to do it on the 25th of the month. On the 25th or whatever Sunday comes between the 25th and the end of the month, I'll message all my customers and I'll say, hey, I'm updating my whatever month comes next. So, in March, I'm saying, hey, I'm updating my April orders. Would you like to keep yours the same or switch things up? And I message all of my customers and ask them, and then they respond and they're like, oh, keep it the same, or oh, switch it. And so I'm going into the account and I'm changing their orders before the first even hits. Okay. And then one thing that I like to do is if they say that they're going to keep it the same, then I'm going to offer a sister product. So they're getting the hair, skin, and nails, and I'm like, okay, I'm so glad that you're loving the hair, skin, and nails, that you're using it, that you're getting results. I would totally recommend throwing on a bag of collagen with it, because then you're going to see even better results, and it's also going to help you sleep better and just feel better and help your skin. You're going to love it. And so I'm also trying to do the upsell if they're keeping the product the same. If they want to switch the product, then same thing. They're like, oh, well, I saw you post about this and I really want to try it. Okay, perfect. That product really pairs well with this. We're going to get both of them for you set up or whatever. I'm always trying to get one extra product in there, because the more products you can get them to use, then the longer they're going to order from you. The other tip that I'll give you when you guys are messaging is I'll always say, after I figure out what product they want, I'll say, also to help provide you with the best customer service, would you also to provide you with the best customer service, it helps me to have my customers process on the same date. Would you prefer the 5th, the 10th, or the 15th? And I try and bump back all of my existing customers' orders to the first half of the month, because that way I can re-rank to exactly where I left off last month on the 15th, which gives me 15 more days to hit that promotion. Now, some people don't want to change it, but for the most part, people are willing to do either the 5th, the 10th, or the 15th because they have a payday somewhere in there. And so bumping it back. And then what's so cool about that is you have this huge volume boost at the first half of your month that you're like, yes, I got this. This is amazing. And then it helps keep your momentum running through the rest of the month. Okay, so update your customer orders. Like I said, I like to do it the 25th of every month. Use the 25th to the 30th to do that. And then if you don't, then at least do it on the 1st and have all of your customers updated by the 5th. And on the 5th is where I tell my team, okay, now you're going to send me your projected numbers. On the 1st, they send me a chart that's just the names of who they're working with. And then on the 5th, you send me a chart with all of your projected numbers. And so how you do this is you go into your eSuite. I'll log into mine. You're going to click on reports. And then you're going to click on tree viewer. Now it's kind of pointless to do this if you haven't updated your customers' orders, because you're going to be doing a whole lot of math, a whole lot of work, and then you're not going to have the right numbers. So then you're going to click this little box that says show loyal customers. And if you haven't looked at this before, all of your distributors show up in black, and then all of your customers show up in blue, and then you just click this little arrow to drop it down. And so if you're going to do your projected volumes, basically what you're going to go through is you're going to go through and click on every customer that is underneath every distributor, and you're going to add up their orders. So mine that I still have running from getting mine, my customers for last month was 30 volume, ran on the 1st. 25 volume, ran on the 1st. This one is running on the 15th, but hasn't been updated yet because they're getting the same product. So I'm obviously not going to do this yet because that 120 may or may not be there, depending on if she switched products. This one ran on the 2nd, and then that one's not running. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to total up my projected volume. So my personal projected volume right now would be 30 plus 25 plus 120 plus 30. Now, has that all run? No, but that's what I'm projected to be at. Plus, don't forget to look at the person and see if they have an auto shipment scheduled, because that's going to be included in the total. So right now, my personal bonus volume is 165, but I have an extra 120 that's scheduled to run, so my projected volume would be 285. Does that make sense? So if I was doing my chart, where did it go? And I was a qualified leg for somebody, I would write my projected volume is 165. So I would write that on the right-hand side, and I would write that my projected volume was supposed to be at 285. And then as orders run, as orders process, then these numbers are going to get closer and closer together. And if you sign a customer that's 30 VV, then you're going to add 30 to both sides, because now your projected is 30 more and your current is 30 more. Any questions? And I want you guys to ask them, because there are a lot of people who are watching the recording that maybe will have some. Okay, who learned something new? Anybody? Unmute yourself and share.
So I guess I'm just confused about the changing the projected and then the current. So you don't change the current until you've hit your projected. Is that right?
Current changes every day.
Right.
Because every morning you log in and you're going to check your downline orders, just to see what ran. And then you're also going to check the report. I didn't say this, I'm glad that you said that, but volume total by distributor. Every morning, check that. And then you can update your numbers. And your current volumes are going to be under the volume total by distributor for today, for whatever day it is. And so that's your right-hand side, is you're changing the right-hand side. The only way your projected changes is if you put customers underneath there, or they get customers, right? Because they already have a bunch of customers that are scheduled to run. So you add up all of those once they've been updated, and that left-hand side, your projected volume is there, unless if there's a customer that's signed. So if you're projected to be at 200 and you sign a Fit 30 customer, then that's 80 volume. So now your projected volume is now going to be 280. And your current volume also goes up by 80 because you just signed them today. Now for me, you guys, is I want my volume to move every single day. There are some people I look into my organization and their volume stays the same for like 3-4 days in a row, and they're not constantly bringing in new. Like, you've got to keep that flowing in. And so, getting the host post, sending messages, helping your team and learning what to do to help them be able to bring in customers, but also you're doing the work to bring in the customers, and getting your volume to move every single day is key in growth, and getting it to move by new, not just recurring orders. The last thing I'll say is at night before I go to bed, I always check my downline orders again, and I check it to see if there's anything that's been returned. You guys, sometimes the post office won't be able to find the address, or there's a sub and they didn't deliver it, or something happened, and packages will get sent back as a refusal fee is what it'll show when you click on it and it says returned. And so you always want to message that customer or that distributor and tell her to message the customer or him to message the customer and say like, hey, I saw that this package got returned. Is that what you wanted? And then most of the time they're going to be like, no, I wanted that. And so, putting in a support ticket and saying like, please reship out this product. I wanted to get it. I don't know why it got refused. And then if there are any new customers that have come into your organization or new API orders. So if it's a new customer, it'll say enrollment order, or if it's a new distributor, it'll say enrollment order. If it's an existing person who put in an extra order, it'll say API. And so I always like to send out recognition that's like, good job on your customer, good job on your distributor, good job on helping a customer order extra products this month, good job on taking advantage of the promotion that's going on, and provide that recognition to your team so that way they know that you're grateful and proud of them for being able to bring in new volume. And just like Amber was saying, you guys, you need to know your exact numbers. You need to know exactly where you're going for. So if you're going for diamond this month, you need 8,000 volume. So you take 8,000 divided by 30 days, that's 266.6. So on average, you need to be bringing in 300 volume a day. Now that 300 volume can come from your recurring orders. That 300 volume can come from new orders. But on average, you need to be bringing in 300 volume a day. And I know for me, on average, my goal is 5,000 volume a day. Like as a team, 5,000 volume a day. So one of my affirmations is 5,000 volume comes easily into my organization every single day. And I say that every single morning. 5,000 volume comes easily into my organization every single day. And putting that out there, but also making sure that you're doing the work for that. So 5,000 volume is what? 50 system customers. Right? Or 5,000 volume is X amount of cleanses, X amount of hair, skin, and nails with collagen. And I'm like putting that out there that I'm signing these customers and bringing them in. And so just make sure that you know exactly where you're going. You know how many distributors you need. You know what volumes you need. And the last tip that I'll give you when it comes to charting, this is something that has really helped, I feel like, my team. I'll share my screen one more time with you guys, is we do coach a leg, fill a leg. So every day we are choosing a box or a leg to coach, and we're choosing a leg to fill ourselves. And we're working on getting it to 400 volume, so it's a qualified leg. And if everybody's doing this, then every single day you're having new qualified legs, which means that you're having new executives, which means that you're having new rubies, new emeralds, new diamonds popping every single day if you're able to do this. And so what I mean by pick a leg to coach and pick a leg to fill is your first promotion or your first rank up. Your first rank up, we'll just say, is getting commission qualified. So how early in the month can you get commission qualified? That's number one. I choose to get commission qualified on the 2nd of every month because I forget to change my auto shipment on the 1st, and it's just a headache. So I always do mine on the 2nd. So on the 2nd of the month, I'm commission qualified. That's number one. Okay. The next thing is, how quickly can you get to be a qualified leg? How quickly can you get to 400 group volume? Okay, for me, I want that to happen on the 1st of the month. So that way I'm a qualified leg for my upline. Even though I'm not commission qualified, I'm still a qualified leg on the 1st of the month for my upline. Okay, so 400 volume. How quickly can you make that happen? Then your next promotion is to go executive. An executive, you need 2 distributors. So here's 1, here's 2. Okay, how quickly can you get them commission qualified, right? If yours is running on the 2nd, then you can expect theirs to run on the 2nd or on the 3rd, but you can't expect them to do something you're not willing to do. So how quickly can you get them commission qualified, and how quickly can you get to them to 400 group volume? Okay, I'm not talking about personal bonus volume here. I'm just talking about group volume, getting that qualified leg. Okay, and so when I talk about pick a box to fill, pick a box to coach, you're going to choose one of these boxes that you're coaching. So you're like, hey, here's the script I'm using. Here's the post I'm making. What can I help you with? Let's do a half hour together. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you are coaching this box and everybody who is underneath them to get their own customers, and then you're filling this box yourself. So every customer, every distributor that you sign, you're working your butt off to get that to 400. And when you do that on the 2nd day of the month, now all of a sudden you're paid as executive. And now, your goal is to get to diamond by the end of the month, and you're already executive on the 2nd. Okay, so now these ones are at 400, but keep in mind the customers can be coming from any of these boxes down here to make the 400 volume. And so then the next day, same thing, how quickly can you get these ones commission qualified? And then we're looking to get them to 400 volume. Okay, commission qualified, then 400 volume. So now number 1 is picking a box to coach and picking a box to fill. Number 2 is picking a box to coach, picking a box to fill. And you're number 3, you're picking a box to coach and you're picking a box to fill. And do you see how quickly that this can add up if every day you put in maximum effort to get a leg to 400 or 2 legs to 400 by coaching and by signing customers yourself? And I always like to build an order of my promotion. And so you don't want to have a whole bunch of half boxes. You want to fill an order of your promotion. So your first promotion is to go executive. So 1 and 2 at 400 is going to give you executive. And then your next goal is to go Ruby. And so when 1 and 2 get their boxes to 400 down here, so that's a total of 800 here, 800 here, and then you're getting this one to 400, you know, are you at your 2000 volume? And now you've just promoted yourself to Ruby. Okay, so my pick a box to coach, pick a box to fill, I'm going to make sure that the boxes that I'm picking are going to grow me in order of my rank up. So, any questions, comments? Did you learn something new? I want to hear from at least 2 people before we hop off. Kelly, Amy, Christy, Brianna, McKendry, I know that you needed to learn this. I want to hear from you guys, so give me something.
I learned something. So I was trying to do more than one box at a time. So more than one box at a time. So I felt like I was running like a chicken without a head. So this to be reminded, like one on.
And I mean, you do more than one because your box that you're coaching, like you can do everybody in that leg, but you're just giving them the same information, or you're having their upline, like passing it down so that everyone has wins and successes and like setting goals and providing incentives and that kind of thing. So you are doing more than one, but I felt like, especially when we had 5 legs, I was everywhere and I was having half boxes filled everywhere rather than full qualified legs. And so I feel like this gives me focus. I can do 2. I can do 2 every single day. And if I teach my team to do 2 every single day, we're going to be duplicating like it's nobody's business. And then Christy wrote in the chat, promote yourself makes it so much sense. Gives you focus. Exactly. So as you're choosing which boxes or which legs to fill, make sure that it's promoting yourself. All right, you guys, thank you. I'll get this uploaded and put in the team page.